So tonight we will be listening to the rest of our minis and mid-major presentations. Our people that are coming back have 10 minutes to present. Our new applicants will have 15 minutes to present. I told them to spend about half their time presenting and half the time for questions. So our first person that we have is from Utahns for Culture. Crystal had told me she wasn't presenting, that it was going to be Ruth White, but she's on. So I'll just admit Crystal in and we can go from there. At the end of the meeting, we will need to approve the minutes from our last meeting, but we will do that at the end of the meeting when we're doing discussion. So I will go ahead and admit Crystal now. Chris, is this Crystal or Ruth?
It's actually Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. How are you?
Good.
So you're here with the Care Commission. We'd like you to present for 10 minutes. If you will start with about 5 minutes for presentations, 5 minutes for questions. So we'll turn the time over to you. If you need to share your screen, you should be able to.
Okay, wonderful. Let me get that screen share going here. Okay, well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today. As was stated, my name is Ruth White. I am the Outreach Director at UCA. Crystal apologizes. She had a conflict today and can't be with us. But we here at UCA believe that the cultural arts are an essential part of the community, and we appreciate how the city of Orem has embraced and supported the cultural arts throughout the years. And we're pleased to partner with you on this effort. We often speak of the quantitative value of the cultural industry, but nothing better communicates our value more than experiencing the magic of live art, entertainment, and culture. And as a city, Orem helps its citizens do just that. We've all missed in-person cultural experiences, and we're excited to see those opportunities returning as we all process the experiences of the last year. The Utah Cultural Alliance was founded in 1980, and we envision a Utah known nationally for its wide breadth of culture, where public and private investment in and equitable access to arts and cultural opportunities are prioritized and valued. Culture defines Utah's way of life. It's in our DNA, and it enhances the quality of visiting, working, and living in Utah. Over the years, we've evolved to better serve the industry. As you can see here, we have a 501c4 arm, as well as a political action committee to focus our advocacy efforts. And last year, we merged our two 501c3 arms, NowPlayingUtah.com and the Utah Cultural Alliance Foundation, into one organization that's now known as the Utah Cultural Alliance Foundation. And this focuses our efforts to amplify and build the capacity of the cultural industry. And I'm here on behalf of the foundation today, requesting funds from Orem Care. As the cultural industry, our mission is to communicate and amplify the value of culture and support creative professionals by building the capacity to do their work, which they all do so well. Our work is guided by our vision and values. First, we look at equity. We view all of our efforts through a lens of equity to ensure that the cultural industry is representative of and available to the entire community and not just the privileged few. We are constantly improving our understanding of other cultures, viewpoints, and systems to allow us to better serve the industry. And we believe strongly in collaboration. We know that we are stronger when we work together, and we strive to develop lifelong, lasting partnerships with individuals and organizations, such as our partnership that we have with Orem. And that allows us to better support creative professionals and help us accomplish our mission. The creative industry, we often think of it as just one or two things. It's actually very vibrant and diverse. It includes businesses, both on the nonprofit side and the for-profit side, as well as individuals. And there are many, many of these individuals that are residing in Orem. Out of the 155,000 working in Utah's cultural industry, more than 7,000 are Orem residents. The cultural arts impact our communities. They improve lifelong physical and emotional health. They enhance quality of life. They directly and positively impact Utah's economy, and they serve as a core component for tourism, hospitality, and recreation industries, which, as you know, in the position that you are, this directly benefits Utah's economy. They also provide critical 21st century skills that allow individuals to better communicate, collaborate, and creatively problem solve in all facets of their life. They're integral to the communities that they serve. They often act as bridges between community and police, helping residents feel safer. They enhance healthcare services by providing art therapy programs. They help community members see and celebrate multiple perspectives. And again, model creative thinking. You know, problems all have more than one solution and questions have more than one answer. And arts and humanities embrace the diversity of outcomes and help people get to those outcomes. Utah, I'm sure all of you have heard this, is #1 in the nation for art creation and #3 in live events attendance. 54% of our residents personally perform or create art, 75 consume art via electronic medium, and 67 attend visual or performing arts events, many at the theaters and performance areas that are located in Orem. And I talked a little bit about the fact that they're also a significant economic driver. Creative industry jobs in Utah have grown by 4%, making it the 3rd fastest growing state in the nation. And the industry brings in $4.8 billion in earnings and $15.2 billion in gross sales. The industry has been hit hard by COVID, as many other industries in the state, with a revenue loss of more than $88 million and more than 25,000 jobs lost. In addition, there's a liability for tickets that have been purchased and not been able to be used yet. So they're seen as rollover liabilities of $17.5 million. And so we look at the industry having a 3 to 5 year recovery due to these facts. However, there is hope. We're in awe at what the industry has accomplished in the last 12 months, working under restrictions necessitated to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. They've continued to serve their communities and work together for a common goal. Today, we're coming to you with a request to fund our career development program, which is designed to build the capacity of Utah's cultural industry through our 5 major programs. The first is our resource labs. These are held monthly. They're skill-based workshops. So it's learning a skill and how to do something better, whether it be in accounting, marketing, community engagement, exhibitions, performance art. The second is culture conversations. These are also held monthly. When COVID first hit, we were holding them weekly because there was a need. And we've pulled back, so we hold them monthly now, but these are facilitated discussions about topics that are relevant to the cultural industry as a whole. They also have served to connect members of the cultural industry together so that they have more of a safety net to go to when they have questions.
Ruth, you have about 2 minutes left.
Thank you. We also have our monthly meetups, which is helping our networking and connection amongst our individuals. And then we do our cultural industry updates and member feedback calls as needed to make sure that our industry has the information that they need. Over the last 12 months, we've held 75 different events. Most of those have been held virtually. We look forward to this month. We're actually holding an in-person event in Orem at the Sarah Center for the Arts, a film screening and panel discussion. If you have questions, I would love to answer any of them.
So I have a question. So how many of these career development or things that you want the money for are in Orem each year?
Each year, depending on the amount of money that is given, kind of goes with how many we can do in Orem. We plan to do 1 to 2 in Orem with the funding that we've requested. However, whenever possible, all of our programs are done in a hybrid manner so that if you are unable to travel to wherever that program is being held, you can join virtually. We also record many of our programs so that you can go back and see them on the website as well. We are a
Ruth,
unified organization, so we do try to help them in different areas, but we have a great following in Orem, and we want to be able to serve that.
Ruth, historically, you've done them at the Sarah. Is that the case planned this year too?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. So you rent space from the Sarah to do these, and then people are invited to come there.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? That is time. All right, well, thank
Feel
you,
free to
Ruth.
reach out. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Scott Swain from the Roots of Freedom. Scott, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. All right, you're with the Care Commission. You have 10 minutes, about 5 minutes to present and 5 minutes for questions. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, you bet. So, yeah, we're ready to go again. Can you see me or no?
Yeah, we can see you with your yellow glasses.
You look good in yellow.
Okay. All right. So we're excited to do it this year. Of course, we've started our rehearsals and so on for the show. We're now officially part with the other events there at Sarah called the Freedom Festival events at Sarah. So, you know, that's the presence that Orem has there, the Freedom Festival, and it's now an official part, and we're all working with each other. We have a map now that if you go to our website on the Freedom Festival, you can see we have a map that shows the whole entire area. But anyway, so we've got, I applied for the mid-level, and we have technical needs to pay our sound master $1,800. We wanted to have a spotlight technician this year, and we're going to be using the Sarah technicians to help us. So we have a spotlight technician, a stage crew to set up and take down, and of course we have the custodial crew to clean up between all of our shows. And so I budgeted in $2,000 to pay for it for all of them. They've got hard costs, and I think we should pay them. Then there's the marketing fees, which are 4 banners, 10 corrugated signs, and 1,000 flyers. And then a storage unit to store everything throughout the year of 1,300. The Freedom Festival is paying for everything else, which are some more mics. They're paying for, let's see here, our costume fees, our Fight Master, our script copies, let's see, decorations, cast t-shirts and food, etc., videotaping of our show, prop expenses, programs, website, and any new flags we might need. So I just try to budget the more bigger things with you. Let's see, that's about it. You know, it's the same every year. So what kind of questions do you have?
Scott, we have a couple of new people on the commission, so maybe explain what you're doing.
Oh, okay. So we've been doing a event during the Freedom Festival. It's a musical, and we also have always done some other things, such as we have a swearing in ceremony of real immigrants that come, and the Department of Homeland Security comes and helps put that on. We have a simulation that people can go through where they become immigrants going through Ellis Island. We have founding fathers dressed up and they're talking to the people. Let's see. Anyway, we have 3 different shows. We have the show at 3 different times every day, July 2nd, 3rd, and 5th at the Sierra Center for the Arts. So it's at 1, 4, and 7 p.m. And we pretty much fill it up every time and have to turn some people out because we don't have enough room. We have a cast of about 35 people. They're usually kids between the ages of about 14 and about 30. We've been doing this since 2008. We were the very first ones to start this in Orem, and then the Colonial Fest came in, and then the Freedom Vehicles came in, and then Brent Ashworth came in and did the American Heritage Museum, and we kind of sponsored that with him since he's right next to us, and so we do the marketing for him and help set it up and tear it down. So
Scott, Steven here. Just forgive me if I know it's been a couple years since the event. The 2,000 that we're talking about this year for kind of stage crews and spotlights from Sarah, is that something we've done in the past, or is that a new thing this year?
no, we've done it every year, but we haven't done it quite as here. We're really going to utilize the spotlight person. So he's going to be there at all of our shows. I mean, we have to pay him. We've always tried to pay him about 2,000, but we've only been able to pay him about 1,000. And I would like to pay him a little more to cover his hard costs. No, he's a care tax person or institution also, but yeah. So I talked to him and he said, yeah, we do have hard costs, so we would like to be paid if possible.
Yeah. I know we've talked about this before. Obviously, the Sarah is also a significant recipient of care tax. And so perhaps there's an opportunity to kind of meet in the middle there, recognizing that everybody is getting paid.
Right. I understand totally. Adam's good. He just says, get what you can, So it's kind of, he just says, these are my costs. And then he's happy with whatever we can help.
And he always has been a good partner to kind of make it happen with whatever resources are given. I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, now he's on the trust board for the Freedom Festival. So he's been meeting with us every week and helping us get our marketing going and coordinating each other's events. So we cross promote each other. So he's been perfect. He's been a big help to us.
Do we have any other questions for Scott?
I hope you can come and watch it. I don't know who here on this call has.
It's been fun to watch in an air-conditioned building. I will say that.
Yeah, we did it for the first 10 years out in the park. I got a little bit too old for that. It was killing me.
Jeff, did you have a question?
I was just going to comment. I've been to that, Scott, and it's wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
You do a great thing, Scott. It's an awesome show, and a lot of people come out, and I think it definitely is a great thing to watch and to be a part of. So
Good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I think the community has really come to make it a part of their 4th of July festivities, and I'm really glad that we have it. So okay.
Well, thank you, Scott. Have a good evening. It's good to see you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Take care.
Thank you, Scott.
Bye.
Okay, we'll see ya. Bye-bye.
Okay, our next presenter is new to us. It's the Utah Live Concerts Foundation. And we have Brian Chapman, and he will have 15 minutes since he's a new applicant. Hi, Brian. Hi, Brian, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Just got
Oh,
my
awesome.
audio turned on.
Yeah, so you're here with our care commission. You'll have
Okay.
15 minutes to present. So I'd use half for presentation, half for questions.
Excellent.
If you need to share your screen, you should be able to do that.
Will
And
do.
I'll just turn the time over to you to present. So thank you
Hey,
for being with us. Yes.
Very quickly, I think in the waiting room there's maybe Doug Gardine and also Terry Taylor. I don't know.
No, I don't have anyone, but I'll let them in as soon as they come.
Perfect. That's fine. We're
Okay.
able to get started without them. So
All right.
great.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, well, hi, everybody, and glad to be here today. I'm Brian Chapman, Managing Director of Utah Live Concerts Foundation, a fairly newly founded organization. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment, but I just wanted to thank you guys for allowing us to be here tonight to make a follow-on presentation. Can you see my screen okay? Okay, good. Well, we're talking about rock and roll here. So what we're looking at is a picture from last year's event held at the Orem City Center Park, end of summer concert series. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. We play right there at the Shell, and it's something that we've done for many, many years, even before partnering with Orem City. And we do a lot of different events, not just the Orem City event, but several others as well. Our mission statement is to create, operate, and manage concerts for the preservation of live music performances, work with charitable organizations, developing civic and community unity, and providing education. Our focus is really on the cultural influences and the techniques of performing music. And so you're gonna see that that's a part of where we're heading. We haven't always been there. So this is relatively somewhat new to us, but at the same time, it's something we've always wanted to do. And one of the reasons that we're seeking funding this year. So first off, we have a large concert planned for August 20th and 21st of this year. It's the end of summer concert series. We went through a process of bidding on this project through Orem City, and were selected as the vendor of choice to provide this end of summer concert. And they're just really fun. They're not well, if you go back a slide to that title one, you'll see that these are not just the school age kids. They're a little bit older adults. So we tend to draw that, but we're kind of going through a new focus of introducing more of a youth program as well as part of what we're doing. So this end of summer concert series, let me talk to you about our accomplishments in 2020. We, because of COVID, Orem canceled their Summerfest in June. And we worked with the city of Orem very closely to create what we called Summerfest Light. And so we got a great benefit from that, because Orem had a big fireworks show planned for Summerfest, and it was already paid for. Well, guess what? We got to show that, have that at the end of our concert. So it was fantastic. But we drew over 3,000 people, not at one time. They come in spurts, because they're literally, there's 28 bands, I think, this year, and over 100 musicians will take the stage. So it plays lots of different styles of music, from classic rock to folk rock. We've got bands playing all different kinds of things. And we go through a careful selection vetting process. And then last year, what was really cool is there were no concerts last summer, but we worked really closely again with Orem City, and we all decided to go ahead and do it. And so we created a very comprehensive COVID plan, because it was an outdoor conference with spacing, with masks, with hand sanitizing, and we carried it out. And so we had this event with the 3,000 people who came. It spans 2 days. 6 virtual concerts we did. That was primarily due to COVID. We ran virtual events and set it out to our same group of people who like to attend these things. And we ran this whole thing on a very shoestring budget and mostly with volunteers. We engage about 65 volunteers. I mean, things like stage management, carrying, helping bands transition and on and off, running sound or monitor boards from the side of the stage, all kinds of things. Actually even traffic. We have parking attendants that are volunteer. And so we've got a very strong volunteer base. Now, again, I said it was real successful in 2020. The Deseret News even did an article on the concert. They featured Orem City in there. The Utah Music Festival may be more important than ever, but is it safe? And they did this article in the Deseret News. But up here on the right, it's really hard to see probably from where you are, but I put a paragraph from it. In the article, we talk about the Alzheimer's Association and the relationship between music and Alzheimer's. The reason I mentioned that is because I only have 2 more slides and then I'm done and you can ask questions. Our 2021 highlights, what we're doing this year. We are doing the end of summer concert series. We're rebranding it. We're calling it Come Together. You saw the logo for it. We are introducing a big segment of youth bands. The youth bands will be mostly, for this event, Orem based. We're working in partnership with Dave Wilbur Rock Labs and also with Booth Brothers, Kurt Gordon out of Provo. They have a program called Real Rock Bands. And so we have Dave Wilbur's Rock Lab and this other group as well. So we've got youth bands that are auditioning even as we speak and ready to play. We are introducing this year educational workshops. And those educational workshops are going to be on some really cool topics like we've got a percussion workshop, vocal techniques, how to run music showmanship for stage presence, how to run live virtual music sessions from home. So they're targeting, we also have youth performance, so bass and guitar. And so they'll have opportunities to try out pieces of equipment and maybe even have small jam-alongs with some of the seasoned musicians from Utah Valley. We're also introducing, because of that last article, we talked about Alzheimer's, we're partnering with the Utah chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, and we're putting together a team of musicians and fans of the event to do a walkathon that's originating at University Mall in Orem in September 25th. And so we're part of the Walk to End Alzheimer's. We'll have music there where we're going to be. So we've got free concerts both at the end of summer concert series and also at this walkathon event. The concerts are free to the public, which is a great benefit to Orem. It's right centrally located, brings people in also to spend some money. And, even if they're traveling from outside to come in and see it. We are live streaming the events, which I think is, we did a little bit of that last year. We're really going to build that up this year. So why are we here asking for funding? And this is my last thing here, and then you can ask some questions. We are asking for funding because we have operated this on a shoestring budget. We are trying to get more professional with the way that we use equipment, the sound equipment. The thing has grown much larger than it was. We've been running it for over a decade, and it used to be done with just a regular band sound system. And now we're up to large stacks and speakers and arrays to reach the 3,000 people, the people that attend in that park. And we also have to have some skilled labor and sound engineers. We are also using the funding that we're requesting from you for workshops and for advertising. We'd like to put some signs along Center Street there to invite people in to the concerts. And we haven't talked to Orem about this yet, but we'd like to offer to let them use those signs at any time for the whole summer concert series. They could put a sign out because they're not going to be based on our concert, but just free concert in the park today and run them along Center Street so people know. We had a lot of people say they drove by, saw us playing, and they didn't know if it was they were invited or not. So we're trying to fix that problem. So I'm going to open it up to questions. That's my presentation, and we'd love to, get some funding from you and work on this project together.
Brian, are you hoping to do fireworks again this year?
We would love to. We did get the message that the fireworks, that the program they had last year was $12,000 of fireworks. We only have our sponsors probably can only secure approximately, we've got a goal of trying to raise 4,000 ourselves. We've got a lot of in-kind sponsors right now. That's not going to pay for fireworks. And also because our because of what we're asking for here. There's probably not enough to cover the whole fireworks show like was last year. We'd love to figure out a way to do it.
Okay.
And I think next year we may apply for try to apply for a more mid grant to see if we can get fireworks involved with that. Fair enough. I mean, it was just a matter of there's still a gap there. If we can find a private sponsor or somebody who could do that, we could divert some money. Like a lot of the things that happened in 2020 were people paying for expenses out of pocket. So we got not only a benevolent group of volunteers, but we were paying for sound system stuff. People were pulling $100 bills out and helping the sound engineers because we didn't have an operating budget, and we're trying to fix that. And also some equipment needs that we have. We borrowed a drum set from musicians in the past, and we do get the amplifiers from local music businesses, but they don't like to let us use their drum sets because we beat the crap out of it. So we are thinking about that's one investment that we think we need to make for this year and for the future. So we've got some of those kind of things happening too. Other questions?
So, Brian, you mentioned last year, or I mean this year, that there are 28 bands coming. Do you remember how many there were there last year?
Yeah, I think it was 26. And the reason it's 28 this year is we're doing something midday on Saturday. It's a Beatles challenge. And so instead of a whole set, these bands will get up. They're smaller ensemble bands, and they'll be playing 3 songs instead of more like 7 or 8 songs. And so we're going to have people playing acoustic guitars and percussion instruments. And maybe, I think we've even got somebody that's going to do Blackbird and Gaelic. And so when I'm counting 28 bands, it counts. The reason there's more is because it counts some of those people who are going to join in for what the Beatles challenge is bringing. And we're also going to invite the local assisted living centers to bring their residents out for the Beatles challenge. We thought that'd be really fun. It runs 11 to 1 on the Saturday of the event. And I think, and we're going to talk to Jamestown Assisted Living, maybe Legacy, and say, bring your people over. Probably love to do this.
And Trio's right across the street too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we also do have a person who's going to be there from the Utah County Senior Companion Center who's going to have a booth. We got permission just to do educational booths, but we also are going to have a booth for the Alzheimer's Association and one for Utah Senior Companion Center from Utah County.
Nice.
Brian, is Sherry Packer with you?
No, not that I know.
Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I see. She's somebody in the waiting room. No.
So
Hey, any other questions?
Yeah, so this is David Spencer. I've been coming to the event quite a few years, and I finally bought a chair. So it's a rocking chair. So so you need it. But what can you sort of give us? So when does it start? Like Friday, it's going to start like 9 o'clock in the morning, or what? And it goes.
Friday starts at about 2:30 p.m.
Okay.
I think the scheduled lesson is at 2:20, and that's kind of weird because 2:20 is a weird start time. So probably about 2:30, runs till 10 o'clock. Actually runs till 9:45. We have the schedule cut that way so that we do get fully finished before 10. And so it runs from 9:30 to, so the first day will be all bands on the Friday. The Saturday will be youth bands in the morning, Beatles challenge mid-afternoon, and then bands from mid-afternoon all the rest of the way to till 9:45. And the Alzheimer's Association is going to be doing some, not just public service announcements between band setups, because we have to do band changeovers. They're going to actually provide some entertainment. I think they've got a magician that's doing some stuff and a comedian. So I think that'll be a lot of fun too. And that's just volunteer work. And we're kind of doing back and forth with them because we're helping them out with their walkathon. They're going to help us a little bit with our concert too. So we're exchanging volunteers a little bit.
That's good stuff. Thank you.
It should be really fun. And I'm really looking forward to these workshops because like the percussion one, he does Fork Fest out in, I think it's American Fork. The guy's doing the percussion workshop, and he says we do in between while bands are changing and setting up, we have people bring their guitars by and they have little jam sessions and play percussion, and they teach people some techniques at the same time. So so I think those educational workshops are going to be a blast. Something to do between setups. Other questions?
Brian, I had a question. Those workshops you mentioned, are they just during the live concerts that you mentioned, or will there be separate workshops on different days and what locations are you guys thinking of for those?
No, that's a great question. We had talked to our contact in Orem, Gina Bertelson, about doing some sessions prior to. We're not quite ready for that. I think we might be in 2022. What we're going to try this year is the sessions during the live event, and we're talking right now about how far away to put them from the stage so they don't get blasted out or anything. Not that it's super loud, but I mean just that they're a little more protected. And then if it works well, we're actually thinking of several programs for 2022, like maybe taking some of these bands to senior assisted living centers to perform, especially ones that are acousticy and don't require big setup, and then educational workshops. We could even take them into schools. We're feeling our way this year. So we're not charging some of the vendors who are teaching those workshops, because again, we're just trying, it's on a trial basis this year.
Okay,
Good
we're
question though.
almost out of time. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, Brian, for joining us tonight.
You're all welcome to come too. So thank you.
Have a good night.
We love
Thanks
it.
so much.
You too. Take care.
Okay, our next presenter will be Richard Adams from the Utah Baroque Ensemble, and he'll have 10 minutes. Richard, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear
There he
me?
is. Okay. I have his presentation, so I'm going to try to share that for him. So Richard, you'll have 10 minutes, 5 minutes to present, 5 minutes for questions. And this is our care commission.
Okay.
And just let me know when I need to move it around for you. Can everyone see that? Okay.
Do you want to run the slideshow or do you want to just have it in edit mode? Up at the top, there's a slideshow, maybe somewhere there's a slideshow. F5 or something, I don't know. Oh, there it is. I'm Richard Adams, and I'm just one of the members of the Utah Baroque Ensemble for quite a few years here. There's a picture we took outside the library maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I've been there somewhere, but we are a group that specializes in the music of Bach. You can go to the next slide. Enough of those people. We founded 34 years ago. Our director's Martha Sargent. We do Renaissance and modern music and Baroque music. We have 5 concerts a year, 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring. We do 2 concerts at the Orem Library for Christmas sing-along. And then we also have our student competition concert that we hold at the library, which we probably will hold now in the bigger hall that you've all built. Our concerts are in Orem, at least 4 of them are, and the rest of them are around Utah County. Go to the next slide. Thanks. Here's a list of the singers and instrumentalists that are residents of Orem. And I didn't really check exactly, but this is definitely the ones that I know of. And there might actually be more because we don't know. This year we've been rehearsing since December here in my music room. And that's what we've been using for our music hall. We haven't put a concert on. We failed last spring to have our concert before the things were shut down. And we're hoping to have now a fall concert to prepare. And so speaking of planning for next year, go to the next slide and you'll see that we have, hopefully in November, we'll have our mostly Christmas music concerts. Then we'll have the 2 sing-alongs the first Monday in December. And then sometime in February, we'll hold probably at the Piano Gallery, the student masterclass, Baroque masterclass, and the concert in March. Now that competition was canceled in 2020, in this year, 2021. We had a few participants submit applications, but there were just not enough to have that competition this year or the previous year. So we haven't had it for 2 years now. Then we'll have our concert in April or May, mostly for music. You can go to the next one to tell a little bit more about this student scholarship competition. It's various winners, many of whom live in Orem. It was named for one of the organists that we had for a short time. Brilliant young man at BYU, and then he went back to Rochester School of Music at Eastman, and he tragically died shortly after moving back there, after having great success at that school and at BYU. And so we named it for Leventa. And we have various prizes, as you see there. Thank you for your care support. Go to the next slide. We have, go back one. So we have, this is how the city and the care taxes have supported us in the past. This comprises almost half of our annual budget. And we'd make drastic things if our care grant went away. We'd have to just kind of change the way we operate. But so we thank you very much for the support of the Arts Council here. And we hold, okay, the way we use the money, as you can see, is to pay for the director and the instrumentalists and various supplies that we have throughout the year that we need. And music, we buy music. And so that's my last slide, just simply says thank you. And I'll take any of your questions. Those are pictures of us on European tours in the past.
So I've got a question, Richard. So with the care monies, you got $4,500 last year. So what are you doing to raise money and gain these sponsors to maybe not rely on care tax in the future? I mean, what are your plans?
We have gotten money from Cypress Credit Union. We've got money from the Utah Arts and Museums. And in fact, we have a grant this year for that. So we apply for these various grants. We send out to our mailing list, we send out pleas for donations. And we had a committee that hasn't been very active in trying to. We visited various businesses, and we haven't had a lot of success except for with the credit union.
It might be tough, this year or last year to raise any money. So.
Any other questions? I'm trying to get you back on track.
Okay, well, Richard, thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Good night.
So our next presenter is the Utah Valley Choral Society. I think it's also known as the Wasatch Chorale. And I am going to figure out who we're going to let in for that. So they will have 10 minutes to present. So just 1 minute. Hi, Sherry.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Are you the only one from your organization?
I really don't know for sure who else is going to come.
Okay, because I have a Janet and a Jessie.
Okay. Janet is our secretary. Jesse's our manager, and she's the president next year.
Okay, so I'll admit both of them into the thing.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
All right, so you have 10 minutes to present, five minutes to present, and 5 minutes for questions. And if you want to share your screen, you can.
Oh, okay. I've not ever done this before.
Okay.
So, you've got our application.
Yeah, don't feel like you need to either. If you want to just talk through it, that's totally fine.
Okay, yeah. You've got our application, which kind of is self-explanatory. the Wasatch Chorale, it's Utah Valley Choral Society, but we're doing business as the Wasatch Chorale. We have received grants from you previously in other years, mostly when Reed Criddle was our director. We did several years ago, we did a choir festival where we included children and stuff like that. We're not in a position to do that again. So we're hoping to redevelop our relationship with Orem City. We've performed at the St. Francis of Assisi Church a couple years ago, but last year, of course, we only had one concert. So, we're hoping we love the idea of performing in the new library. That's part of what our issue's been. We haven't gone to St. Francis because the time that we wanted to do it is during Lent, and they don't allow concerts during that time. So we're hoping that we can perform, like our Masterworks concert is the one that we kind of picked to use for this, because I figured that was a good one for the library. If Jessie wants to add anything as our new president, I would love for her to make some things, but just to give you a background, that's what we do. We've got several members of our choir who are from Orem. A lot of them are from all over Utah Valley. We typically perform all over Utah Valley. So that's kind of what we're hoping for is the opportunity to perform in the library and do our Masterworks concert, which often has a small chamber orchestra or an organ. Sometimes we'll rent an organ and provide that. That's what we've done in St. Francis of Assisi when we've done the Masterworks there. So that's kind of where we're at. You have any questions? Or Jessie, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'd love to make some comments. First of all, are there any questions, or should I talk first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So as Cherie mentioned, I am the newly elected president of the Wasatch Chorale. I technically don't take office until the beginning of next season, but I'm acting right now. Due to the nature of COVID, meaning that we could only really do one concert in the last 14 months, and how that has affected our membership as well, we're really, really excited to get to launch into this next season with, whatever kind of fundraising we can do, whatever kind of grants we can qualify for, because we know that the music we make is very valuable, not just for citizens of Orem, but all of our membership, which span from people from Salt Lake down to, I think maybe we have some people from Nephi or something, but it's just a wonderful ensemble. My husband and I are both in it, and we love it, and we love to be able to make more music. And currently that would be easier facilitated through a grant. So we're really hoping that this can be our chance to get to do something, especially back in Orem again, where we used to have kind of like our base. We used to have all of our rehearsals in Orem based at UVU and most of our performances there. So being able to get back to that and share a little bit more up north, because we've been kind of Provo-centric for the last little bit. Well, we've been on Zoom rehearsals actually for the last year, and we've survived that. And just this last concert we had this last week was an incredible show of our resilient spirit, and we're really excited to get back to things as normal and be able to make music for people. So we're really grateful you're considering our application.
Jessie, did you receive any Provo funding while you were more centered down there?
Yes.
Yeah, this last concert, and you can correct me, Cherie, but this last concert was through a grant, correct?
Right. We got some money from the RAP grant from Provo, which helped us, because we really didn't have any other income, because since we didn't have any concert, that's what usually provides our income besides the tuition that we ask our members to donate. So
And our tuition was slightly different from years past because all we could offer were Zoom rehearsals. And many of our members just, that didn't work for them. So we've been inching along and we've gotten through it, and we were really grateful for that grant for this last concert, which was a magical evening. It was amazing.
And then this year, are you applying for any RAP funding from Provo as well?
we are hoping to help do the same. What the concert was centered in the Provo Library this last time, and that's in the ballroom is where we did this last concert. So we like that.
Okay.
We would love to do the Orem venue.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I've got a question. So are we talking one concert in Orem a year? Is that what we're talking about, or many?
Right now, what we're doing is we practice in the Provo Community Church down in Provo on University, and it's about First North. It's a little triangle church. I don't know if you've seen it, but that's where we practice. And for some of our smaller concerts, we've performed there just because it's been available. Again, we've changed our board in the last couple of years. We've changed our artistic director. Our artistic director, Allison Unsworth, has been the director for this was going to be her second season, such as it was. So we're trying to work those things out because we don't have the same network that Reed Criddle had. And between Reed and now we had Jennifer Heder, who was the director of the Spanish Fork High School choirs, and now she's getting her doctorate. So we had to, she retired from our choir. So it would be one concert in the ballroom if we were able to do that. We would love to go to St. Francis. We love performing in St. Francis, but the timing has always been tricky. But
So
as
how
of
are
right
you
now,
planning on using the money? I mean, what do
we
you?
use money. We would use it on the rent of the library. We would purchase our music, and we would pay our orchestra, because typically we have a paid orchestra or chamber orchestra.
And if it's a work that requires professional soloists as well,
Right, we pay them.
or like highlighted instrumentalists, like an organist, then it would go toward that as well. If there were excess funds, we've kind of toyed with doing whether we do like paper programs and paper tickets versus online programs and tickets. But if we did have the budget for that, being able to have more print materials to both promote the concert and to give out to people who do come.
So do you charge for the concert, or is it free?
It kind of depends on the budget and how the budget. It usually is charged, but we usually charge $5 a ticket, or a $15 family ticket is what our typical rate of charge is. So it's not excessive at all.
And more often than not, that's just to recoup costs.
Right.
Well, I mean, of course it is because we're a nonprofit, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't often recoup very much of the cost.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if we were to do it in the library, we'd want to advertise more widely so that we could hit more people, I think, as well, because we'd want to, and the Masterwork again is probably our best concert of the year.
Yeah. And in years past, we have performed at more than one venue in Orem, but we'd be looking specifically at the library this time.
And for the library, you charge admission for that concert?
Depending on how much the grant covers our costs, yes.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Janet?
Janet, do you have anything to say?
No, I have just enjoyed this experience with this Wasatch Chorale. Been in it for least 10 years, and it's been a highlight in my life. And so I hope to see it continue to go. And that all depends on funding.
How much is your tuition now that you're charging?
We were going to raise it this year to 120. We've been charging 100 per person. Last year we just charged 75 again because of the Zoom rehearsals. We could not.
And how many people do you normally have that participate in your chorale?
Last
On a
year,
non-
go ahead, Jesse.
I was gonna say in non-COVID years about 60, right?
Right.
And then this year we had about 30.
You think it'll be 60 now this year?
I think so.
During
There's-
tootin',
Yeah.
if I have
there's a lot
anything to do with it.
I think it will grow. There were people that just could not handle Zoom.
So,
Yep, that would be one of our main efforts this season, and it is one of my main efforts that to bring back some of our old membership and also recruit.
So on a normal year, what would be your total costs?
our total costs, if you look at everything, as a treasurer, I can address that. Let me pull up a document really quick. I've got 3 things up because I've been working. Close to our budget for, let's just say last year, because that's more typical. Our budget for last year was, we anticipated $15,000 worth of expenses. And then the income, we usually just general income without grants is around 8,000. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions? Well, thanks, ladies, for joining us tonight.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank you so
evening.
much for having us.
I hope you have a good rest of the night.
Yes.
Thanks, Janet.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we now have about a 13-minute break. So our next presenters are at 6:15. It'll be the Utah Symphony and Opera. So if you guys want to come back in about 13 minutes, that would be great.
Thanks, Kenna.
Thank you.
Okay, so my phone suddenly went into safe driving mode.
And
Hey, Jeff, how we doing?
I'll see if we can do
Doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. That's good. So
Good for you.
work's still busy.
Crazy times, man. I cannot believe how pulling stuff overseas, how hard that is. I'm dealing with a few. You're dealing with a lot more.
People don't realize that there's so much product to ship from China to the United States. It just, you don't have enough capacity. So it's tough.
Yep. I mean, finding an
Gentlemen, you have spent a lot of time in those two chairs doing city business over the last year.
Yeah. Brett,
I feel like I've seen that map on Dave's wall for months.
No, so Brett goes, is that the map? Can you find City Hall? And I'm like, well, that was Maddie's map for her mission. So
Have you tried this Pepsi Mango?
No, but I mean, if I drank soda, I'd probably drink.
Yeah, how is that?
It's way better than it sounds.
No, I love like I think that sounds really good.
Are you at a baseball game, Steven?
Steven's having
No,
a
I mean my kids have their school, like it's called the Day of the Child, and it's their
Day of the Child.
Day of the Child. That's right, buddy. And it's their school presentation where they kind of sing, kind of end of year party.
Nice.
So,
this is the
but
best
both of my kids got theirs done during the break, so it actually turned out perfect.
Oh, nice. Good timing. Spencer, long time no see, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a while.
It's been way too long.
It's been a crazy year. Everything just kind of.
Imagine how busy you've been.
Yeah, exactly. It was wild year.
I hope wild in a good way.
It was wild in a good way. It's just, I don't know, it's been a ride. You just kind of go with the regulations and where they lead you, and oh man, it's been crazy.
Yeah. Well, glad you survived COVID-19 and you're still smiling.
Yeah, we survived it for sure. So no, it was everything going on. It's been good for business, and so we've been fortunate. I can't complain.
Good.
Right, well, I think we're all back, and it looks like we have Jessica waiting for us from the Utah Symphony and Opera, so I'll let her in if everyone's ready. Everyone ready? All right. Hi, Jessica. Oh yeah. Hi, Jessica. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. So you're here with the Care Commission. You'll have 10 minutes. Just spend that time, presenting and then answering questions. And so we'll just turn the time over to you. If you need to share your screen, you can just do that. So.
Okay, I first want to apologize. I'm in my car. I'm sure you can tell. I've had a slight family emergency, so I am not at my computer. I don't have my presentation, but I'm going to talk you through this, and I'm happy to take any questions at the end. So Utah Symphony is really excited to be coming back for our second season at Zenorda at UVU in Orem. This would have been our third season, except this, obviously, the 2020-2021 season has not happened as we originally planned due to COVID-19. We had our first inaugural season in Orem in 2019-20. We were able to hold 5 of the 6 concerts we had originally planned. They were fantastic. We had a great community response to them. So we're excited to keep going and build on that to see what we can do in the future. We have some really exciting things planned for this season. Just to go through some highlights, we're going to be opening our entire season. It's one of the first concerts of our entire symphony season anywhere with Hilary Hahn. I don't know if any of you know who Hilary Hahn is, but she is an international superstar. In the classical music world, she is one of the first names, and it is a big deal that we're able to bring her to Utah. She's only been to Utah once before to perform with the Utah Symphony, so we're really excited she's coming back. We're going to be opening our Norda season with her. It'll be a fantastic concert. And then as another highlight in December, we're going to be bringing Jody Benson for our Holiday Pops concert. The Holiday Pops concert is a really fun one. It's lighter. There's usually some interactive elements. 2 years ago, the conductor, when we were there for the holiday concert before, the conductor had people clapping and singing along, and it was just such a delightful experience. Jody Benson was the voice of Ariel in Disney's Little Mermaid, the original. And so it should be a voice that people will recognize, that people can really get into. It's really fun, really playful. And then one more highlight I want to mention, we're closing out the season with a family series concert. We know that Utah County and Orem is home to a lot of families. That makes up a significant portion of the community. And this is a concert series we run in Salt Lake every year that's really, really fantastic. So we're excited to try it in Orem and see if local families are excited about it there. Our family series concerts are shorter. They're designed for children. So they're usually very family friendly thematically. It's music kids will be able to get into, they'll understand. Again, often there's interactive elements and they're much shorter concerts. So the whole point of those is so that families can bring their children and there's no intimidation. There's nothing that feels inaccessible. It's really designed to be an introduction to coming to the symphony for these kids. So we're excited to try that one out. The concert itself is called Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Missing Maestro. So there'll be this mystery element that runs through it and it'll play out almost as a narrative that the kids get to watch and be involved in as they're seeing the concert. So we're really excited to try that and see if Orem families are excited to attend that concert. Our price point for these concerts is still pretty low. The price does depend on where in the NORDA people want to sit, but season packages start at $75 and that includes all 5 concerts, and then they go up to $251. But I know there are discounts for students, for seniors, for group tickets. So if someone's bringing a large family, they'll be able to get a discount on those tickets as well. So that's something we're really hoping we'll get a good response to as well. There's still a lot of things we're unsure of about the season. We don't know if we'll be able to do a lot with intermissions. We don't know how long. We may have to go through and truncate some of these depending on how COVID pans out in the next few months, but we're excited to be there and be performing for the community of Orem. So that's the basis of it. I'm sure you've all read our application, so I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
So Jessica, David Spencer here. I've gone to quite a few of your concerts in the NORDA, and that's a beautiful building. Plus the music is awesome. So we appreciate you being in Orem and presiding that or giving that music to the citizens of Orem. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. We just love that we have a venue down here, so no one has to drive all the way to Salt Lake. So yeah. Any questions or more praise? I'm happy to take that.
Jessica, I had a quick question. When you guys talk about the family concerts, are there any options for families with kids with special needs as far as maybe on the autism spectrum or with some sensitivities that are available or catered to?
That's an excellent question. So the family series concert isn't necessarily structured that way, but I do think depending on, special needs is a big spectrum, depending on that, on where someone would fall, it might be appropriate for them because it is shorter, it's more interactive, it's a little less formal than a Masterworks concert. We actually have a program at the Symphony where we do a concert every year specifically designed for families with special needs, where we actually do a lot of distancing in the hall. It's very noisy, it's very different. There's a meet and greet afterwards with the musicians. And so that is a special event we do, and we've talked internally about expanding that so it can become a more ongoing effort throughout the year. So that's something we could talk about bringing to Orem in future years and maybe having a special concert just for families with special needs in Orem. For this concert, I think it would really depend on the child or the individual in the family who has special needs and what their capabilities and ability would be to attend the concert.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? All right. Well, I hope you have a better night, Jessica.
Thank you all so much. I'm sorry again for this, but thank you for being patient and thank you for your support. And hopefully it'll be a good season.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, next we have Sherry from the National Institute for Story. And I'll let her in. Hi, Sherry, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we're just a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's good than being
Okay, great.
behind. So you're here with the Care Commission. You have 10 minutes to present, about 5 minutes presentation, 5 minutes for questions. And if you need to share your screen, you can go ahead and do that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for this time, and thank you for all those of you who volunteer your time for this. We are here, National Institute for Story, and we are requesting funds for Story Camp. Story Camp has been funded by Orem since the first, and I am going to start with, there we go. Yes. Okay, repeat. Sponsored by the National Institute for Story. It's a summer camp teaching the art of storytelling to the youth of Orem. The kids get to learn how to perform storytelling. We also have workshops on how to write your own stories. And as you can see, they have fun doing that. So it's fun, it's educational, it's rewarding. These are some of the reasons why storytelling is important. And more about that. Our parents love Story Camp. And the kids love Story Camp. Story Camp was born because of the Orem's Care Grant, and we appreciate the support that we've received from the beginning from Orem. So with that, I don't know if you have questions at this point, but again, it is a storytelling day camp. It's mostly geared for Orem kids. I know that that you want to be careful with the funds that you use. We advertise to Orem's children. That's how we focus on spending these monies by the Orem residents for Orem children by focusing. We advertise to the schools, the schools of Orem, so that is our focus of getting the kids to do that. We've had a variety of kids at our story camp. We've had brand new storytellers. We've had storytellers who've gone on to tell at the Timpanogos Storytelling Festival, as well as other storytelling festivals around. So it's a fun way to really learn to present and to be creative and to learn, so that the summer months are not completely brain dead time. With that, do you have questions for me?
I've got a question, Sherry. So
okay,
you charge a tuition for the camp? And
yes,
then,
we do.
and
It's the early bird registration is $25. Money helps to actually make sure that the people will actually come. So $25 is the early bird registration. We have a story performance camp. We have a story writing camp. And you can actually sign up for both camps for $35. So for just a little bit more, you can do both of them.
And how many kids do you normally have?
Well, pre-pandemic, we could get about 40. Last year, we still had camp, but we did it all through Zoom because there were no summer camps there. So we did it all through Zoom. We waived any fees because I prefer the energy that you get from live. But we've got to, because of last year, we actually have to rebuild. We're hoping to get those numbers right back up again. But anyway.
So and on the care money, so how is that money used on the
It is used for the people. We hire youth storytellers to be mentors and camp counselors, and we also hire professional storytellers. So that's where most of the money goes. We also provide snacks for the kids, and we do some advertising with it, but the bulk of the money goes to hire artists, story artists.
Thank you.
Sherry, is it possible for any low-income students that might be interested to have that tuition fee waived?
We have done that in the past. We've asked the mothers or fathers, whoever, to help us do some of the work for camp. And that's that's how we have done it in the past. We don't do it very often, but when there is a need, we have been able to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
If you ever need extra help, Dave Spencer's quite a storyteller.
Oh, good. will write his name down right now.
He specializes in fiction, so I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know.
I think this is wonderful, Sherry. I think it's kind of a lost and underappreciated art. So
Well, thank you. I agree with you, so I appreciate you saying so. Sometimes you'll see my eyes go this way because the camera is right there and my screen with all the faces over there. So if I'm not looking at you, that's because your face is over there.
you're
But,
fine. We're probably doing the same thing. How was the Zoom camp received?
Actually, fairly well, because the world seemed to shut down in March. People were really excited to do story camp, and so it was fun. But like I said, I could tell the energy is not there. But honestly, we had a lot of appreciation that we were doing something. Oh, I think one thing that I should say, I did ask for more money this year. The Orem Library has always partnered with us, and we have been able to use their facilities as a grant in kind. They granted us the ability to use their rooms. Now with the new library hall, we have lost the ability to do that. They are waiving that fee this year, but we asked for more money for next year so we can actually pay for the use of the library hall next year.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight. I wish I was where you aren't, but your screen is.
You're absolutely right. I know. I like to pretend I'm there too. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for your time.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
All right, we have about 5 minutes until our next presenter, and she's not here yet. So in the meantime, let's approve the minutes from our last meeting. I sent those out to you. Can I entertain a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll move that we accept the minutes.
All right.
This is Danae. Sorry, my internet has been on and off, so I keep having to rejoin. But anyway.
You're fine. I'm watching the room, so I'll let you in if you needed. Is there
Okay.
a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thanks, Stacy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Okay, great. All right, thank you. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you want us to talk about for the next few minutes?
Maybe Dave could tell us a story.
Fiction, right?
And I'd like that. He specializes in fiction stories. Stories.
All right. Well, Lisa's here now, so we can go ahead and move forward if you want. Is that good? All right, here we go. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you tonight?
Well, hi, I'm fine, thanks. Who said that?
This is Kenna.
Oh, hi, Kenna.
Hi. So Lisa's from the, I never say it right for me.
That's okay. People say it differently. It's both Contorum. The official name is Contorum, but we're not that snooty. And so when people say Cantorum, that's okay too. Steve Durkee is actually going to be joining us as well.
Okay, I'll watch and let him in as well when he gets here. We're just a few minutes ahead of schedule. So
that's wonderful.
We can wait, or you can go ahead. We have 10 minutes.
Is it okay if we wait? I know he's prepared to start, right? In fact, I think he's probably going to be getting on here just in a moment.
Yeah, we can definitely wait just a few minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's rare when we're ahead of schedule.
Certainly is. For anyone. You've done well if you can do that this well on a Zoom meeting.
Lisa, were you guys able to perform at all last year?
We in fact, I'm glad we maybe just officially pre-official start. We can tell you, we were able to, oh, here's Steve. We were able to actually do a video performance, which we were preparing for another, because the library hall didn't get finished on schedule. And so our performance there had to be canceled as a video performance. We actually rented a space out in Springville to do a video performance. And we're just doing pre-talk right now. Steve, there's Steve.
Hi, friend.
And anyway, so we were able to do that. And then Orem Library was able to post that as an online concert as part of their concert series. So we were really glad about that. And then we also did a concert just at the end of April in the new library hall. So we were pretty excited about that. So yes, we have been able to perform. Thank you for asking.
Well, we'll start your presentation now. You can share your screen, but we have Steve and Lisa, and we'll turn the time over to you for 10 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I wanted to just start briefly by mentioning how much Cantorum and personally, I can speak personally, we've appreciated the support of Orem. About a year ago now, I suppose, and maybe just into June, when Stephen had us all the recipients for the season, the year, meet together on a Zoom meeting when everything was kind of falling apart all around us. And so many of us felt unsure as to what in the world was ever going to happen. It meant so much to us that he and his committee expressed more support for us rather than pulling back like so many sponsors of arts organizations were finding themselves having to do at that time. So that really meant a lot to us. To begin, we're going to have just a very short video, which features 3 of our choir members who live in Orem, and in their comments, they will also talk a little bit about what we've done this year. So give me just a second. I practiced getting this very quickly. So here we go. Can you all see that? All right, here we go.
Hi, my name is Fiona Judd, and I am a resident of Orem. I also work here in Orem at the new Orem Fitness Center. And I am so grateful to the city of Orem and everyone who's made it possible for us to have a choir season this past year, even though it looked a lot different than we thought it would. Choir is more than just a singing group to me. And I think especially during a difficult time like a pandemic, it was really meaningful to me to be able to rehearse and even perform a little bit this past year. So thank you so much for making that possible.
Hi, my name is Tim Walker. I'm a tenor in the Cantorum Chamber Choir, and to be able to go there every week, to be able to go to practice, which is within walking distance from my house, and to go spend 2 to 3 hours just making art, making music with amazing musicians, among which I am the least. It just fills me. It gives me what I was lacking.
I'm Mary Drinkwater. I'm a soprano in Cantorum Chamber Choir, and I've lived in Orem since I was 6 years old. I've always been so grateful to live in a community that supports the performing arts, and especially during this pandemic when the performing arts were canceled everywhere, that I was able to keep singing, that our choir found a way to sing safely through a pandemic. We learned how to sing with masks on, we learned how to sing sitting at a distance from each other. We did a recorded concert in the fall that we were able to share with friends and community members. And then this spring, when the library hall opened, because we've been singing all along and rehearsing, we were ready to put on a live performance in that concert hall as a gift to our community that's given so much to us.
Did everyone see that okay? All right, I'm not very well versed at being on the other end of that, so. All right, and then I think Steve's gonna talk just for a couple of minutes now and share some feelings about what he's got.
I also wanted to thank everyone at the CARE Grant and Orem City for ongoing support. Lisa's role and my role as artistic director and choir manager are kept quite separate. So when it comes to numbers and money, Lisa's our lady, and I'm so grateful to have a Lisa. And I'm here to answer questions that you might have about choir mission, but also most importantly, to express some gratitude. I'm actually at a neighboring city, which will go unnamed, to help out a choir there. And their relationship with the arts committee of that city is very different from what we've experienced. And the contrast has helped me appreciate our relationship with Orem City and with the CARE Grant even more. So thank you.
Thanks, Steve. We wanted to address a little bit, trying to follow the guideline that Kenna emailed out, what our requested funds would be used for. Our primary thing is to purchase music for our choir members to sing. This is something we are so grateful for, because in a lot of models, choir members have to pay that amount. They have to pay for their own music. And so we're grateful that we can supply music for singing during the year without incurring an extra cost for people who are donating so much of their time toward this. We also are excited because we are going to be hosting again, this year, we're going to be hosting the Orem Sings collaboration. We've done that every single year. We had to do a modified version of it this past season. Luckily, the high school choir was able to come and just at a distance join in with Contorm at a rehearsal on one of our rehearsal nights. So it was a very modified, shortened version of Orem Sings. But this coming season, we do have commitments from both Orem High School and Canyon View Junior High School to have a night of a pizza dinner and a rehearsal and a workshop together with the kids, and then a concert the following evening. Something kind of special about that is when we did our concert at Library Hall just a few weeks ago now, they were very limited tickets, as I'm sure you know, because of the current situation, and in-person tickets. And we had a message from someone through our website saying, I love Contorm Chamber Choir. I met you guys when I was at Mountain View High School 6 years ago when we sang with you guys at our collaboration. And he says, I want to bring a date. Is there any way I can still get tickets? So that meant a lot to us to know that that there's still a lasting effect with those students as they join us for that experience. We try to make it a lot of fun for them. And then the remaining bulk of our request would go toward administrative stipends, independent contractors, which include instrumentalists and video technicians to facilitate our live stream of our concerts. Was extremely helpful this past year. And so that's kind of the bulk of it. And I'm sure we've gone over our 5 minutes. So what questions do you have for us?
So Lisa, where do you guys practice right now? And then what is your annual budget? What do you normally spend?
Steve, do you want to talk about the first part of that?
We currently we rehearse Tuesday nights at Timpanogos High School. I'm the director at Timpanogos High School, and that has been our ongoing rehearsal space for about, I would say, 7 years now.
We're so fortunate to be able to make use of that facility and have the person in charge be there with us. And as far as our budget goes, we have always kind of scraped by in terms of anything beyond what we got from the CARE Grant. We have a fundraiser every year, which is so wonderful, but anything extra, we always supplement heavily with those fundraising monies. What we've typically received in the past has been great to go toward the music, the collaboration, and the stipends, and much toward the independent contractors. But any extra, to David, to give you this specific answer, we have a budget that we've submitted. And is that what you're asking specifically about? Or are you asking about what we've actually?
I was thinking, what, I mean, a typical, not a COVID year, but a typical year, what are your costs? I mean.
What are our
Lisa,
costs?
you have 12,000 in the application as the total budget of the organization. I think that's the number he was looking for.
Yes. Oh, okay. Very good. Yeah. So that's kind of if we had all the money that we could get from you, this is what we would do with it. And we realize that most years in the past, we have not been able to receive that, but we would probably be able to up our administrative costs. We would be able to excel marketing. We are on Spotify now, and so we do get royalties. Well, we receive royalties, but we also have to pay for licensing. Well, and actually, technically, we don't receive royalties either because I'm not sure how all that works exactly with Spotify, how that works, but
Member of the choir, do you charge tuition to be a part of it, or?
No, we do not. That's something we've felt very strongly about. If we can help that, we don't. In fact, I think we talked about this last year. We have an awesome attendance policy where we ask everyone, they put a deposit in, which is $100 deposit. If they have, I think it's 85% attendance, they will get that full $100 back. If they get less than that, then they will start losing incrementally, like they'll get $50 back or all the way to $0 back. That's all part of the initial contract that they sign. But one really cool thing that again, like we mentioned last year, this is not funded by the CARE grant at all. This is part of our extra funds that we've fundraised, is that if someone has 90% attendance or better, they actually get a $25 bonus each semester. So, woo, we can say, we try to give what we can, but our choir members donate hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands if we're talking collectively to put toward our choir. And so, and they're such a high caliber that we just want to try to give them as much as possible. And again, this CARE grant allows us to be able to do that. Other choirs, this isn't a money-making venture, obviously, for us. There are other choirs around the state that's kind of the moneymaker for the director, or they just have to pass all the costs on to these choir members who are already donating so much of their time. And so we love this model and are so grateful it works out.
How many members are from Orem?
That's a good question. And I had that number before we did our application, but Stephen, thank you so much for this wonderful application this year. It was so lovely and concise. Out of our 35 members, and we add who lives and works in Orem, but we have actual people living in Orem, I think about 6, but we have living and working, I think is like 12. So almost half of the choir.
Right, we're out of time. Any more questions?
I thought Jeff had a question.
Did you have a question, Jeff?
They've asked all the questions.
Did any of you make it to our concert in April by chance? No, okay, that's all right. We heard that Mayor Brunst was there, so we were happy about that, and we just appreciate you guys all so much. And if you have any questions for us, my email. If there's something you forgot to ask or couldn't remember, just shoot it over to us. Steve, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I don't. Thank you for your time, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you both. Thanks, Lisa.
Have a nice night. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Our next group is the Utah Chinese Association. I'm going to give her a call because she hasn't gotten on yet. So stand by for a minute. And they're new, so they'll have a 15 minutes.
it's nice having Stacy's clock on the wall right there so we can see where we're at.
I've got a map.
And that helps us see where we're at too, Dave.
Yeah, well played, Jeff.
Steve, I can't believe that you didn't make one joke about the Cantorum changing their name to Canorum.
I missed opportunity.
Well, there's always next year.
Yeah, I'll save that one.
She said she
save
was
that one.
getting on right now, so we'll wait just a second. Her name is Mary.
I've been known to sit on jokes and use them much later. And my wife will usually ask, how long have you been wanting to use that one? You know?
It's all in the timing. So
It is.
I heard a cute one today. What do you call two monkeys who have an Amazon account? Primate.
Nice.
Put that in your dad joke file.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy to me that we're at the end of the year, all of the school celebration things.
Yeah, it's crazy for sure.
Such a great time to be a kid, though.
Yep. So I guess my son goes to Sharon, Jeff, and it's called Day of the Child, and I guess that's like a Mexican culture thing, is the Day of the Child. They have like a big celebration down there, and Sharon's about 80%, I think, Latino, so they kind of bring that culture into the school, and honestly, it's great for our kids. It's been really fun. They've done it for a lot of years.
Okay, she's here now. I'll let her in.
Every time I see Brian Hudson, I think of your story of Old Man Hudson. He's our friend now, and we sat next to him my wife sat next to him at the event.
Well, I hope you haven't told him that I have a story about Old Man Hudson.
No, I haven't told him.
Okay.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining us. You're on mute, Mary.
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you are. So you're with our Orem Care Commission, and you have 15 minutes to present.
Okay, I'm here.
There you are. If you need to share your screen, you can do that if you need to.
Okay, yeah, I need to share my, yeah. So I just share my.
Yeah, and you'll see share screen, and you should be able to share it.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Okay. So we are Utah Chinese Association, and our project is the Orem Chinese Culture Day. And what we do that day, we have a Chinese folk art exhibition and teaching. The Chinese paper cutting, Chinese music, Chinese folk art performance, the Chinese herb, the Chinese food. And this is our Chinese folk art. This is not everything, but just for some example. This is just an example. We have some more. And this is Chinese paper cutting. It's a Chinese calligrapher. It's a Chinese music. It's a Chinese folk art. It's a Chinese herbal. This is Chinese doctor, and she is helping another person. And this is a Chinese food. Yeah, this is ours. Well, this is something we wanted to do, and our location we are going to plan on the Orman Park. The time is next May.
Do you have a specific Orem Park in mind?
I think just the name is just a Orman Park. The park's name is Orman Park.
Okay.
And this is our budget. And we are going to from the grant and get 8,000, and we will have some volunteers, and it costs 8,000. So this total, I will think is 16,000. Yeah, this is our project.
Mary, so maybe you mentioned this and I apologize if I missed it, but is this an event you're already doing somewhere else?
Pardon?
Is this an event you're already doing somewhere else? Or is this?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you doing it now?
And this summer we did do next, but we did before COVID-19, we did everything in the past.
Okay. And where at? Where did you do it?
And we did in Salt Lake County. Salt Lake,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Other questions for Mary?
The budget that you showed us, was that just for the Orem event, or is that for all of your events?
Can you repeat again?
The money that you're requesting, is it for just the Orem event, or is it for all of the events?
Oh, just for Orem event.
Okay.
The food looked delicious.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yep.
The food is very beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful.
The detail on the food looked like you combined the paper cutting with the cookies. It was so intricate.
Yeah.
How many people have attended your event in Salt Lake County?
I think we have over 5,000 attend our events in the past.
right, any other questions for Mary?
So I've got a question for Mary. So in Salt Lake County, did you receive money from Salt Lake County, or how did you put it on before COVID?
Before COVID-19, and we get some money from Salt Lake County, but most of the money is come from our sponsors.
So do you have sponsors now?
Before COVID, just we did many volunteer job. Our organization did a volunteer job mostly.
So how much money did you get from Salt Lake County compared to your sponsors last?
We get 3,000 in the past.
And then your sponsors were the rest, the other 13,000?
Yes, yes. And we get some, yeah.
So if Orem gave you $3,000, would you be able to get sponsors to do it in Orem this year?
Because in the past we have more volunteers. Right now we cannot do so many volunteers right now. So we need some more money this year. If we do tomorrow, next year we need more money because in the past we have many volunteers. But during the pandemic, everyone getting not too much money, they need to make money. So we cannot get so many volunteers.
Thank you.
So if you didn't get the full amount of 8,000 from CARE, like if you got half, would you cancel the event? Or I guess the question.
We will continue to do. We will do that if you cannot afford sponsor full amount, we still need to do this project.
I mean, I guess.
Any other questions?
Do the fundraising, I guess. Because it's 2022, correct? May of 2022?
Yes, Dave.
So they can find sponsors for have a year. Okay. So, thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Mary, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our last presentation for the evening is from Wasatch Contemporary Dance Company, and we have Jessica Heaton, and I will let her in. Hi, Jessica. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you're with our Care Commission. You'll have 10 minutes to present. And if you need to share your screen, you can do that. So
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me make sure everything works here for me to share it. Zoom wants to share the contents of your screen. Yes, share. Okay. All right, we good? Everyone can still hear me, even though I can't see you now.
We can hear you.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so I am Jessica Heaton. I am the founder and artistic director of Wasatch Contemporary Dance Company. We've been around for 11 years now, producing art in Utah County. And today I just want to tell you a little bit about our project that we would like to start, which is kind of a concert series based on literary works, with the first one being Alice in Wonderland, this upcoming November at the new Orem Library Hall. So to start out a little more about us, we have a four-fold mission to create, collaborate, educate, and validate. So create, we like to produce art that has social impact and is meaningful. We're not here to just entertain and just make fun dance, but we really want to do things that are helping people to think, to solve problems, to create paradigm shift that's going to help unify our community. We collaborate with artists of many fields, so we bring together lots of different artists to create multifaceted works, like visual artists and musicians and videographers, and we like to just see what we can create together and also help to make Utah County into a hub for all arts. We're also really interested in engaging our community. So instead of just having patrons sit very comfortably in their seats and kind of be lulled by dance, we really try to bring them in and kind of break that barrier between dancer and audience member. And we do that in a lot of unique ways. Educate. We are here to bring the benefits of dance to youth and adults alike. So we teach free dance classes to children in libraries. We take master classes to high schools and studios, and we create workshops for professional dancers, as well as more holistic dance workshops for adults that maybe aren't professionals but want to reap the benefits of movement and dance. And lastly, we are here to validate dance as a viable career option. So we are trying really hard to create paid opportunities for professional dancers and choreographers, and help them to have the recognition they deserve for lots and lots of years of hard work that have really benefited our community. We do.
Jessica, is Doug Jardine with you?
No.
Okay, somebody's just in the waiting room. I wanted to make sure we're not leaving them out. Okay.
Okay. Good to know. Yes, we do rehearse in Provo, in North Provo. So I feel like every time we apply for this, I have to just clarify really quick that our rehearsal location is at Smash Dance Academy, and probably always will be, because they're our greatest donor of in-kind services, and we dance there for free. So we will probably always have our home base in Provo, but we perform at least half of our shows in Orem, and we teach many of our high school master classes at Orem high schools, and we teach in the Orem library as well. So yes, we would definitely say we have a significant influence in Orem, but our address, well, our PO box is in Orem, but we rehearse in Provo, just so that's clear. For the 2021 grant funds, like I said, we want to be able to perform at the Orem Library Hall, and it's such a great venue. I've toured it. I'm really excited about it. It is, top of the line and kind of top of the price as well. So I think performing at a venue like this is a little outside of our reach unless we can receive grant funds to help make this possible. The show, like I said, that we would be creating, it will be loosely based on the novel Alice in Wonderland. We found a lot of really interesting themes there that we enjoy, that we think are really pertinent to our day and age, including the moving from a childlike state to a more complex understanding of the world. And I feel in that right now as well, where we want things to be black and white and really clear, but we find that as we go out in the world, not everybody has the same rules or understandings or beliefs as us. And so it's important to give grace to people and not judge so quickly. And that's an interesting theme that can be explored in Alice in Wonderland. There's also other themes like body size, like she's changing body size all the time. And that's kind of a funny comparison to body image issues today, and how women in particular are really just pressured to have a certain body or size. And another theme we find interesting is how the rabbit is constantly late. He's always on the run, and much of our lives are like that as well, that we're constantly going, and we don't even stop to ask ourselves why. So we feel like these and other themes you find in the literature are really interesting, and we'd love to explore them in a way that's whimsical and fun, and so it's appropriate and entertaining for a young audience, but also is a great way for minds to really delve into these themes and find something complex and beautiful for them to take home with them as kind of a takeaway message. So that's my short 5-minute presentation on a very complex show that I'd love to share more about, but it's that's my 5-minute version of that. What questions can I answer for you guys?
How many shows will you be doing for Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, so we would be doing 2 evening shows, but we are also interested in creating a youth workshop. So like the Saturday in the morning and afternoon time, we would be offering like a workshop for high schools or for teenage dancers that would come and kind of learn behind the scene process, what goes into making a show like that. And it will have, excerpts from the show as well, and a Q&A But I guess we'd kind of see that as 3 shows. We'd have 2 evening shows and then kind of a workshop experience for youth.
Is the funding you're asking for include that, or would that be something separate?
In my conversation with the library hall, it sounds like they are looking into a full day rental price. So if we're renting, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday anyway, it doesn't really add any extra to add the workshop on because we have Saturday all day anyway.
Awesome.
So Jessica, you mentioned half your shows in Orem. So how many shows are you doing in the area, I guess?
We produce 2 full-length shows a year, and one is always in Orem. The other one is usually in Provo or American Fork. And then we do a number of guest performances and things like that as invited, but we just produce 2 full-length shows every year.
And are you asking any money from the city of Provo?
We aren't. They've been very difficult.
They've been very difficult.
Yeah, they haven't, I don't know, they're not as good as Orem at giving grant. I know that they have an arts tax. It's been disguised, I think, as a way to just help a few select people, and it's never helped us yet. So
Can you put that on a billboard?
can I put it on a billboard? I would like to, yeah. Orem is better than Provo.
There you go. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, Jessica, for being with us tonight.
Thanks,
Have
Jessica.
a good evening.
You too. Thanks so much.
All right, well, that ends our presentation. So we'll turn the time over to Stephen to talk about deliberations.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm gonna pull up my a spreadsheet here. Just a second. Okay. Everybody see that okay?
Can you expand that a little bit more? I mean, I've got glasses on, but it's a little bit small.
Get bigger glasses, Dave.
I'm trying to. I got the Coke bottle right now.
How's that?
That's better.
That will work. Okay. So just an overview again. Well, tonight what we're doing is deliberating on our recommendations for the mini and mid-major grants. This is the commission's opportunity, obviously, to make their recommendations. The city council would have an opportunity, if desired, to make any adjustments to that in their council meeting, which will be on May 25th. There's 1.2 million for the arts. Historically, just so you know, we've been around I'd say around the 70,000 mark or so for the mini and mids in the years past. There are more applications this year than we've had in the past. There's a lot of different things here. Obviously, what you can see here is how much these organizations were awarded last year if they applied last year. So that gives you a little bit of a reference there. Rarely, it does happen occasionally, but rarely is anybody granted a full amount in their first year. But again, your opportunity to deliberate as a commission if you feel like there's something that might warrant that. There is significant, I mean, there's quite a bit more money this year than there is last year. However, the majority of that money came because we thought last year we were going to take a significant financial hit in the CARE tax, and we didn't. And so to some extent, we're looking at it as a little bit as one-time money, because the amount that we have to allocate this year won't always be that high, because we won't always have such a large surplus rolling over from one year to the next. So I hope that gives a little bit of background. Go ahead, Dave.
I got a question. So on the, I'm just looking at the Freedom vehicles, right? And I thought in his presentation, he wanted 3,000, but it's got 3,500 on the 2021 request. Am I?
Kenna, do you have those applications readily available?
I had written that 3,000, so that was why, because I
Now,
think
let me look. This was filled out before their presentations based on
3,500, Stephen.
is what he put in the application.
Uh-huh.
So maybe he meant to do 3,000, and if he's putting that in his presentation and his budget penciled at that.
Did anybody else have that written down? I just, that's what
Yeah, so I don't, yeah, this was all done again, just straight from applications before presentation. So he wrote 3,500 in his application. His presentation was at 3,000.
Now, I understand like the surplus essentially from last year. Is there a plan to just kind of hold some of that surplus and pass it on to 2022? That way, you know, we can kind of spread that out if there is issues in the future, or what's the plan there?
So there's some, this will be something that the city council here, because they're city applications. You'll see at the bottom, city related arts applications for essentially one-time projects. So we've identified some arts needs that could be handled from one-time money, and that because they won't be something that would come back next year. So that's kind of a little bit what that is intended to. At the same time, there's enough to do a lot of those city applications, and still, if desired, be a little generous with the major grants and the mini and mids, given that they're coming off a tough year. So, I mean, for example, if we funded the mini and mid majors at, and I'm just throwing out numbers now, 80,000 instead of 70,000, if we gave the majors what they got 2 years ago, because last year we gave them a big cut. We gave them what they got 2 years ago, and say another 50,000 more spread across the three. That would still leave about 170,000 for kind of these one-time projects. So there's the one-time projects doesn't mean we have to cut back everybody. That just is really to account for the idea that there's just one-time money that's sitting there. So anyways, I hope that.
Okay, so Steve, on your spreadsheet, so if we look at the 2021 request, you've got, on the minis, you've got 36,000 total, correct?
Yep.
Then you have 88,000 on the mid. So you're at 100 and, 111, 114,000?
I think I got 125.
120.
Compared to last year was at 116.
So, and we gave out last year, or in 2020.
Like 62, because we thought we were going to be in a tough spot.
But in a normal year, we give out about $70,000. Is that correct?
Give out about 70, correct.
So, I just as
fewer applicants. I mean, mind you.
Correct.
So we need to cut, you're saying we need to cut about $40,000 off of these mid and off of the mini mid-major grants to make it 80,000 then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, about 45,000 is what you
45,000
cut back at. So I think, one of the things that we've done in the past is kind of an initial discussion of, is there anybody and the answer is oftentimes no, but it has been in the past, yes, to some. Is there any applicant that anybody on the commission feels uncomfortable funding at all? Because we can look at that first. So then we know whether we're looking at funding everybody, or if there's anybody that the commission feels uncomfortable funding.
Let me go through my notes here and see.
I don't know if I'm uncomfortable funding it, but the Utah Chinese Association one, I don't know. It seemed like a good program, but it also kind of felt like if you didn't fund them for 100%, then it just wasn't going to happen. So I was very confused on that one.
Oh, see, and Spencer, I understood the opposite. I thought she said that if they didn't get everything funded, that they would find a way to fund it. I wonder how much we missed from just not being, I couldn't understand some of her words sometimes at all.
Yeah, the language barrier was very difficult. I wish we had a little bit of help there.
Yeah. So maybe, maybe you can speak to this, but maybe can we email them and ask for clarification, or maybe having it in writing will be easier to communicate?
Well, if you look at the historical data, the Salt Lake City gave them $3,000 and they had sponsors. So, if we're following that same ballpark, they should be able to have sponsors because it doesn't come until May of 2022.
Wow.
So, the stipulation is they have to spend that money in Orem and put on a project. And if they can't, they have to give the money back. So,
Yeah, they actually, it's done on a reimbursement, so they would never get it if they couldn't pull it off.
I thought it was hard to understand, but I also thought that she said they were going to go ahead and do it, that they would still, if they didn't get the full amount. That's what I thought she.
I think that is true. I think she did say that they would still do it, but at what level does it, I'm not exactly sure.
Well, and I wonder if we could help fund it, that bringing that to Orem could maybe increase more donors from here after they've experienced it.
Yeah, so I think their total cost was they did $16,000, which, if they gave them $3,000 2 years ago, Salt Lake County, that means they raised $13,000. So I think, I don't know.
So let me do this, and obviously know that with the numbers I'm going to throw in are adjusted, but I'm going to, just for sake of conversation, insert the numbers, the amount that people got 2 years ago. And the reason being, last year, there were some that we hardly funded because they weren't even going to do an event. That'll at least give us a starting point to kind of work from, and we can reduce or add to. And then I'll leave blank those that are new applicants. But this will give you an idea of just how much money we're at if we just funded those that received it at the level we did 2 years ago. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, that's a good visual, Steve. Appreciate that.
In chat, I'm going to put the Chinese Association's website. It looks like they have several sponsors. So I'll just put that in the chat if anyone wants to look at that.
So it looks like we're already at almost 70,000 with that in. So we have about, we have about $11,000 left to spread around now. Is that oh yeah, about 11,000.
So I think, yeah. So let's see.
Now, the other kind of change this year too, as we look at funding is, and you heard a few of them, there's a few that used to use the library at no charge, and now there's a charge to use that facility. And so some have built in now an additional request just to try to cover the rental fee for the facility.
So Steve, but if it's a library program and they're doing it for the library, like the Cantorum Choir, they don't get charged because it's a library program, correct?
Yeah, because essentially,
so doing it if they're just doing it as an event for themselves, then they have to pay.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Brazilian festival. I know that.
Where's the Brazilian festival? Let's see, where's that at?
Well, that one didn't get moved over, but that
you're
was,
right. You're right.
but that one was a lot of fun.
They didn't receive 2 years ago because they didn't apply. So this is if they had gotten what they got last year.
Okay. So so that puts you at 73,000. And what's the difference? So we've got okay. So right now, I mean, are we comfortable? Are we saying that we want to do 75,000, 78, 80,000 is our magic number for our limit, and then we have to figure out where we go from there, or?
Jeff, what are your thoughts as far as, because the council generally, and Dave's, I appreciated Dave's thoughts too, but your thoughts on kind of the amount to give?
I think 80 is a good round number to start with. I'm looking at like the Garden Valley Pipe Band, who last year we gave them $5,000 or $49.99. but the year before they got 3,500. So that's a cut from last year. But did they actually use much of that $49.99?
In fact, Kenna, maybe I know Kenna has a report that shows that she could look at that just shows who's left money on the table. For example, the Utah Shakespeare Festival is leaving money on the table essentially every year. They have big plans to get into schools, and then they struggle to actually get them booked. And so we've given money that's been given back 2 years. Last year was an anomaly, of course, but even 2 years ago they did. Well, 2 years ago they didn't apply. 3 years ago they gave a significant amount of the money back.
Stephen, on the bottom of the mini and mid majors, you can delete the bottom two, Heart and Soul and Utah Wind Symphony, because they didn't apply.
Where am I?
Right? Am I seeing that right?
Oh, yes. Sorry. That is good eye.
More money then.
Money.
Yeah, and Jeff, ignore that because then I scooted the spreadsheet over and I guess I'll still have receipts to submit because Kenna sent us out the spending progress.
Yeah, so Garden Valley, they still have about 1,900 to spend, but they said they would spend it.
Okay. So anyway, Steve, I think 80,000 is a good number for those two categories to move it up a little bit.
Because how many new applications did we have?
So they're both written over here. There's 3 new: the African Cultural Center, Chinese Association, and then the Utah Live Concerts.
Okay.
Well, in the past, right, if they're new, we don't give them the full amount. So I would, especially with the African and the Chinese, where it's new and we've never seen that event before, I would, just for the sake of plugging in numbers, I would put in 5,000 and just see what that
does.
So that leaves us 3,000 for the live concert, the Shakespeare Festival, and the Utah Valley Chorale. Those are the only ones left, right?
That is correct.
I think with the Utah Live Concert, so that's the old Geezer Fest, and it's very well attended.
Yeah, they've kind of.
There's this is just
yeah.
But the Chantinettes, they didn't ask even for what they got 2 years ago, so I ought to at least reduce that. Make sure there's nobody else that 2 years ago they got more than what they're asking for this year.
That's a good point.
Okay, everybody else is at or less than. Well, hey, I'll save $9 here on the Orem Corral too. There we go. Now there's money to spend. So Utah Live Concerts. Now when they were encouraged to apply, they talked to I think it was Debbie LeRae. Anyways, after Summerfest last year. And originally what we wanted to do was say, well, if we can use some money to continue to provide fireworks, just essentially what the feeling was is no greater marketing is going to happen for that event than to have a fireworks show ended. There's no amount of signage and billboards that will bring more people than a free fireworks show. But they had other needs they wanted to take care of. So just so you know, $4,800 is $4,800 more than they were going to get last year. So there's a couple things they want to get. That $4,800 didn't exist last year at all, and it still allowed them to pull off a show because we give them free use of the stage at the City Center Park.
So do you think maybe 2,000 for that, and then they would just feel overjoyed?
No, I disagree.
1,000?
I think they should be funded $4,800. I agree. I think.
I do want, David, I know the council will have an opportunity to, I want the commission to have their opportunity as well to talk through and give their thoughts. And the council has the ability.
The Geezer Fest?
What's that?
Has anybody on the committee been on to the Geezer Fest?
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the thing I like about it is because I've attended twice in a row. I feel like I know that festival. I feel like they do a good job. So I would lean a little more towards more money, just because I know what we're getting versus some of the other ones. I'm like, I have no idea what that will look like. But I also agree with Stephen that, you know, they've pulled it off, but it'd be nice to compensate for their time. And I love that it's free. It's open, right? He said thousands attend, and I kind of like knowing that it's such a large group. Like I know like the garden pipe band is super cute, but their outreach is a little smaller, I feel like, than a concert, a weekend concert with thousands of people. So
Yeah. Of course, the pipe band does perform at they perform quite a few times, like at, I don't know, anytime anybody needs pipers for whatever they need them for. I know they performed at like funerals and stuff, so anyway.
Sorry, and I don't want to take, obviously this is good deliberation on that one. One thing other that to think about is we've funded the Utah Shakespeare Festival and the Great Grassroots Shakespeare. They're two different organizations that essentially do the same thing. So there is an opportunity to consider, if the commission wants to, hey, whether we want to just duplicate funding for two organizations that essentially do the same thing. Grassroots has seemed to have a greater success getting in schools because they're right here locally.
one thing I like about them as well is they have a curriculum that goes along with their presentation. So they perform and then they do workshops with the kids. And the Shakespearean Festival does not have that.
And I feel like the Shakespearean Festival can get grants from a ton of resources that the Grassroots might not be able to. And then Stacey, I wanted to speak to your point too. I like that, if we want to fund the ones that we know are a success. But I feel really strongly, especially because I think it's important for the city to be embracing more diversity. I'm not saying we need to fully fund those, but if we have minorities coming in that want to share their culture with our city, I feel like we should really be as encouraging as possible for that. Teach kids about other cultures, but really just kind of, put our money where our mouth is. If we say we want to embrace more diversity, we need to fund projects that will do that.
Well, I think too, we need to realize too, that the CARE money is more for seed money to get these people established and to be able to stand on their own feet when a lot of them can't. But I think we definitely need to give them something to start, moving forward so they can become established. So
if we did now for just to free up a little more money potentially for the African Cultural Center and the Chinese Association, if we followed the Brazilian festival model, we gave them $4,000 for an initial kind of seed money, which is $1,000 less than what we have down right now, which allowed them to do, I think that what they needed.
Or even if with the Brazilian, we gave them half of what they asked for. If we did the same with the others,
yeah, that's how much, I think that's what it is at right now.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I want to know why BYU, right? That one lady that's on their board teaches at the Y. Like, where's BYU with some funding? Like they can step up, but maybe they haven't.
So I'm another thing that I'm noticing too, and I don't know how everyone else feels about this, but it feels like we're funding a lot of choirs. And I am actually, like I said, I'm more interested actually in the Chinese festival than I am in all of those choirs. But I don't know, it just feels like, because you're talking about overlap, there are a lot of choirs on here. But anyway, I guess they're more local, but anyway. It just seems like there's a lot of choirs.
I agree.
Now, I think, remind me, did the Utah Valley Choral Society or Wasatch Chorale, they've been receiving money for Provo for the last couple years. This year, I think they're trying to get money out of both. We do have an Orem chorale that is essentially Orem through and through that we fund. That would
Yeah,
be one.
that's what I'm saying. It feels like I was like, where is this other one coming from? Because we have Chantanets and wherever they say it, Cantorum. Now I'm nervous to say it. We have Orem Chorale. There's a lot of choirs, and then we have the new choir. I don't know. I'm just saying, how many choirs do we need to fund?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair discussion for sure.
And just remembering too that they're highballing it, right? They're trying to get as much as they can. And so I think it's good to remember that, you know, their numbers might be a bit inflated. One thing I have appreciated about the Freedom vehicles in the past is a lot of times he's given us itemized things of like thread for the tents. This, like, I feel like he asks for exactly what they need, and I really appreciated that. But a lot of these will not expect to get the full amount they asked for, is what I'm basically saying.
No, I think that's fair. And Kenna served in nonprofits for many, many years. The other thing I think is, Kenna, maybe you could speak to generally in an application process, what percentage of organizations that ask aren't receiving funding? Because it's not, I don't think it's common for, you know, obviously 100% of organizations that ask to get funded in a given year.
Yeah, I mean, we would, you know, when I worked in the nonprofit world, we get probably 50 to 60% of what we applied for, maybe, you know, a little more than that. It would just depend on what we were applying for, but we didn't get everything. Even with Summerfest, I've applied and I've been turned down several times just as of late, so.
So with that in mind, what are the thoughts on the Wasatch or Chorale or Utah Valley Chorale Society? I've heard, you know, I think it was Danae that said, well, they kind of brought up the idea of we're funding significant number of choirs. How many do we want to fund? And is there interest in potentially saying, I think we've funded our share of choirs for now, and we want to use that money for other things?
And that's no knock on choirs. I love singing. I
No,
just like,
of course.
I'm just looking at how many there are, and I'm like, there's a ton of choirs on here.
So
So
Steve, what choirs are you looking at? You said the
Utah Valley Choral Society, but Wasatch Chorale, I think, is what they've been called in the past.
Let's see, Utah Valley. That's Utah Valley, the Wasatch Chorale, is that what it was?
Yeah, Utah Valley Choral Society is on what
That's
it's
the
on.
Wasatch Chorale. Okay, so, and when they had no application,
They didn't apply for quite a few years, yeah.
so, and see, they charge tuition. So basically, what are they asking for? 5,000.
5,000.
So their budget's 15 grand, but their tuition is about $7,200. So I don't know. And then the other one was,
So then the other discussion between whether we want to continue to fund similar things is Grassroots Shakespeare and Utah Shakespeare Festival. And while Utah Shakespeare Festival does bring a bigger name, to Stacy's point, they don't do the workshops the same way, and they've struggled to get in the schools. And part of that, I have to imagine, is they're not local and they can't be as flexible.
One of the things I wrote down in my notes is Grassroots gets 15 to 20 schools, and Shakespearean Festival only gets like 6 to 7.
Yeah.
So I would feel very comfortable saying,
thanks, but no thanks.
yeah, just that's a way bigger outreach. That's triple.
And essentially what Utah Shakespeare doesn't do the workshops, and when they get into schools, they essentially do what Grassroots Shakespeare does.
Well, and we're paying for their travel. We're paying for their actors to travel and lodge here.
That's true. I forgot they had like per diem and all that in their application.
Versus
so I like what Stacey was saying, you know, that the Grassroots gets a lot more people. So I wouldn't say necessarily defund Utah Shakespeare Festival, but I think that whatever they get percentage wise, you know, should be, you know, less because they're hitting less. But I think it's not a bad thing to encourage both groups to come. But yeah, I think you've got to go at least significantly less because of how much less their outreach is.
we could try and get at the 2,000 from the 2020, because you said they haven't even used, but this has been a weird year, so it's not, there's nobody.
But the last year they did receive money, they weren't able to use it all either.
So maybe just 2,000 for that then? Or even that much? I don't know.
Yeah, 2,000 or 1,500 is the number I had in my head. That way
100.
it encourages them to give it a try, and if they use it, great. And then maybe we'll revisit this in the future. And if they don't use it, then maybe we kind of go to zero. But if they use it and come back for more, then I mean, it's definitely a great organization to have in Orem. I'm biased. I went to SCU for school before University of Utah, so I'm a big fan. But
I love
the
it.
outreach.
So
Yeah.
so that would leave us about just about $1,100. Did we want to give more than that to the Utah Live Concerts Foundation? Because it sounded like people were, that's the Geezer Fest, right?
Well, really quick, let's get to that one. What do people think about the Wasatch Chorale or the Utah Valley Choral Society? We've had a bit of discussion about whether, again, I think that's probably the 4th or 5th choir we would be funding.
And again, the point that they're not really Orem based or focused.
Yeah, we have an Orem chorale that is so Orem centric they can't get Provo money. A Wasatch chorale that's trying to get both.
And Ken Orem is in Orem. They rehearse and perform in Orem.
Yeah, they're Orem through and through for sure.
So the Utah Valley Choral Society, you just talking about just don't give them any?
Well, that's just a potential discussion.
I mean, they haven't had an application for years.
Yeah.
So
I would plug in 0 for now and see what we're left with. And if there's some, then maybe we could give them some. I don't think it's mean to say we have this many choirs we're already funding. I don't think that's true.
I agree with that, Stacey.
So on the African Culture Center and the Chinese, I think you probably just need to do 50% there as starter.
Which is,
I think it's a little bit more on the Chinese right now. Okay.
And I know that's a little more than African, but if they're essentially doing they're trying to both do a similar event. 4,000 is what we gave Brazilian. And frankly, they were thrilled when they got $4,000. Brazilian was.
Yep.
So if we look at the Geezer Fest, maybe we do 4,500 to see what that pencils.
Or give them 4.
Yeah, just so where are we at now? So we're at
80,000, 81,000
so
essentially.
yeah, go to 4 on that then. And then what do we got left?
439.
I'd love to see Freedom Vehicles get more, if possible.
I think, because they asked for 35. Well, I had written down 30,000. So maybe you do 25 and take some off the Utah Symphony and Opera, maybe. Or
Well, one thing to note too, the Colonial Heritage Festival, and it's something to think about, especially to Dave's point of, how much we want to be their kind of only support and help them become self-sufficient. There was a year we gave them 9,000 a few years ago, and the event was pulled off the exact same way. They didn't have to adjust down anything.
So Steve, if you look at the Cantor, or whatever you pronounce it, chamber choir, in 2017 you had 4,000, 4,500, and then jumped to 9,950. So my question is, maybe we cut them down to 4,000 or 4,500 and see where we're at.
Yeah. Well, now one thing to think about is, again, some of these agencies, for example, the Colonial Heritage Foundation, we give them a free use of a facility. Others, they have to pay for facility space. So cutting may make it unable to rent space that they need to perform. Where we have to consider too, that for some of these organizations, they get money here, but it isn't the only money they get from us. We essentially, for the Colonial Heritage Festival, for the and anything associated with that event, Freedom Vehicles, we provide them a free park and free staff the entire event to do all the cleanup and maintenance and everything too. So this isn't the only city of Orem resources they're receiving.
So are you thinking, 8,500, 9,000, what are you talking just to cut?
Well, I'm thinking if we went down to even 9,000 where they were before,
Okay.
then we know the event was able to be pulled off. And then where's the, I'm missing the Roots of Freedom.
Roots
Right
of
in the
Freedom.
middle of the orange section.
Roots of Freedom. Okay. 4350.
Credit.
Yeah. Now here's, and again, I know what I'm stepping into when I say this, but I'm just going to say it because I believe it's something that needs to be discussed. I love the idea of being able to give the Sarah another $2,000 out of the Roots of Freedom money, but I know that we're about to give them, more than $500,000 out of CARE money, that I feel like that is not an unfair thing to ask for help so that some of these other organizations can do what they need to do.
But is that going to the Sarah? Is that going to the lighting guy or something?
The Sarah's lighting guy. Yeah. I
But
mean,
it's paying the lighting guy, but they're not paying Sarah. Is that correct? Or maybe
I think they pay it through Sarah because Adam's the one they've been negotiating with.
So, I mean, the question is that a need on the lighting?
Yeah, they haven't done Spotlight the way they want to now.
I mean, I think the Roots of Freedom, if you look at the history, I mean, it's been 4,000, 40. I mean, I could see 4,000, but I don't think you want to hit them $2,000 worth in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, their big expenses are now that they go in and rent the Sarah. They used to not have to pay for that because they did it outside. And so the majority of their costs is money going to the Sarah.
Well, and he said a spotlight and mics, but I was confused why they wouldn't use like the Sarah's mics.
Well, the Sarah might be charging them to rent.
Yeah, I
it,
think they have to rent the mics from the Sarah.
Okay.
to Stephen's point. So also, where did that go? The Utah Symphony and Opera. We're giving them 9,000.
Yeah, where's that?
What was their Orem connection?
They have essentially a standing relationship now with the Norda down at the UVU, the new Norda Center, and they have a whole season they do there.
That's right.
Which I think is a big revenue for Orem.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I remember when they announced they were coming, I was just so excited. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway.
So the, I mean, the Chantinettes, they want $500, I guess, for the rent, but isn't that a library program, the Chantinettes, or is that their standalone?
I think they do more. I think they do a standalone as well. Now, one of the things with the Chantinettes to consider as well, and I did bring it up in their presentation, was one of the reasons they ask for more money is they don't like doing reimbursements. And the reasons we do reimbursements has mainly been there was an issue of people misusing CARE funding because these are small organizations that have no internal controls and there aren't multiple people seeing all the transactions. One organization took advantage. They essentially used money for personal things and then had to reimburse it later. So then we started a reimbursement. Chantinette said, we don't like doing reimbursements. And so the out for any organization is if they have a CPA do an audit to show that they have sufficient internal controls. Nobody else does that. Everybody else is fine with reimbursements. I don't believe CARE money is the best use to pay a CPA to do an audit so that they don't have to do reimbursements.
Well, I think the bulk of their money on the Chantinettes is they pay for storage, meaning it's a cooler to keep their music so it doesn't disintegrate or something, which was
that's part of it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten 4,000 and 4,999 in the past.
So the CPA was 500, is that correct?
I don't have it in front of me. Is that what you're seeing?
I was just curious what the.
Let me, Kenna, do you have their?
I'll look it up while you guys are talking.
But
for sure,
if somebody's so adamant against doing reimbursements when all other 20 organizations have no problem doing it, that's fine. I just don't feel like we would want to throw care money to make sure they don't have to do reimbursements.
So Spencer, did on the Freedom vehicles, do you want to bump that to 3,000? See where it's at?
Yeah, I'd go 3,000. I mean, I'd fund it the whole way if we could, but
I mean, but I had written down 3,000. I don't know. Maybe I just missed.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. If 3,000 is what they asked for, then yeah, for sure.
3,500 on the application, but in his presentation, I could have sworn it was 3,000. That's why I wrote it down. But I
think he did make a comment that he figured out that he wasn't going to need that full amount.
Okay, so 3,000. So
I thought, wow, that's
do 3,000 there then, or at 13.
Yeah, he's just been so upfront in all my experience with him, and so it just seems.
Yeah, he's a great
to,
and to Stacy's point, yeah, he's always. I mean, he went down to 1,700 because he knew that, hey, this year I don't have to pay for certain things. This was 2 years ago. I don't have to pay for certain things this year, so I'm only going to ask for 1,700.
And that's
nobody
why
else does that.
That's why I asked him. I said, "He's sure?" You know, because normally we give him, you know, like $5,000 or whatever. So
yeah.
Okay, so 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 on the
Even it was 500 for accounting and legal is what.
Yeah,
it's-
that would be that. So if we even just said we're not going to pay for the audit.
So are we everybody okay with 5,000 there, or do you want to go lower?
For the Chantinettes?
I mean, they do good. They do a good show, and they're.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, and then let's see. So,
I mean, this number, and I'm not saying don't adjust more. I'm just for information. This number gets us essentially right at 80,000.
So the Utah Symphony and Opera, do we want to do anything there?
That was my question, but they brought up the fact that it is a series.
Yeah.
This number is 1,000 less than we gave them last year.
Okay. So
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I'm just trying to look at the numbers and see what. So right now we're at 79.8. So is everybody okay with that?
So,
yeah.
That looks pretty good to me.
What we're giving the live concerts, would that allow them to do the fireworks show?
No, I don't think so.
Fireworks is about 12 grand.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's very expensive, but
This
I mean,
allows them to buy some new sound equipment and things that they want to.
I mean, if you want to be an even, you know, we can give them the rest up to 80,000 and we'll call it good.
Because I just, as you guys have been talking, I've never been to that concert, but as you guys are saying, it's been a tradition for a long time. And David, I'm using your words. You said the Old Geezers concert that they love. I feel like that would include a lot of people that have really been stuck at home a lot over the last year. So even more important that they can go this year. So I would be all for giving them as much as possible.
I mean, even
Well,
last
that'd
year during COVID, it was very well attended. They gave out hand sanitizers and masks, and it's just a good Friday and Saturday, you know, free entertainment. And you bring your lawn chair, and it's just, you know, it's rock and roll, but you know, everybody needs rock and roll in their life. So there you go.
To rebrand it from Geezer Fest, somebody said they need to name it Boomer Fest, and I thought that would have been brilliant.
They have to use that terminology, and then they might.
Yeah, that's right.
Boomer has a bad mojo now. I don't think so.
Okay.
So if we put the extra $111 on that, that will put us right at $80,000, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, we're giving everyone some money except for the Utah Valley Choral Society that's applied.
Correct.
Do we want to throw them $1,000?
Well, why did we? So they're just brand new because they haven't.
Yeah, and they've been doing it out of Provo. The only thing I'd say, and I know there's some others that are small on this as well, and Kenna can speak to this because she does a lot of the grant management, and she does it for CDBG, which is a different animal, but a similar grant. For some of these organizations, when you get to such a low amount, there's still so much paperwork and all this stuff that has to be done. And you start just having the question of whether it's worth it for such a low amount.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. So where's the Utah Bloggers? Where's that at?
That's the $500 one in the blue.
Okay,
Right?
because they asked for 620. Okay, that's where I was. Okay. So
Now the other one, just because again, this is one that's unique. It's not, nobody else is doing this. And that is Wasatch Contemporary Dance. We have 2,900 because we gave them that 2 years ago. Their requirement now to rent the hall, I don't think they can do it,
What?
that amount.
So I mean, what do you, so 2,900, they're asking for 52. And what was their deal? Wasatch Contemporary Dance.
Can you see my new screen now?
I would
removed a little bit of
prefer,
dancing
if we were
space.
gonna throw that $1,000 at that choir, I would prefer it go to the dance because they're the only dance in the middle and mid. And again, I feel like Jessica, at least the 3 years I've been here, has always been very upfront about their costs and what they need. And I don't feel like they ask for anything more.
So where was the 1,000 coming from, Stacy?
Sorry, say it again.
Where was this 1,000 coming from?
Well, Jeff threw out the idea of throwing 1,000 at.
Yeah, so where's it coming from? I guess is the question.
We just
drop
said,
that there.
yeah, we just said, do we want to give the Utah Valley Choral Society just 1,000 just because? But I would prefer to give that to the dance company that we've worked with for several years. So that because of the library hall cost, that they can actually do their production. And they do a lot of free stuff in the library, which I think
They
is
do a
really
lot of free stuff in the library. So it's really, really cool stuff in the library.
So that's, I'm just saying that's my opinion. I'd rather that money go there than to that new choir.
I think that's a, so if you put 3,900 on them, Steve, and then we just, do we take 500 from somebody else and 500 from somebody else and call it good? Or do
We
you
can
want
do that, or we could just send 81 to city council. I don't think the extra 1,000, because we came up with 80 just at the beginning of this, right?
Yeah, so Steve, if you, can you scroll down, Steve, at the bottom of the wish list for the city? And I still don't know why we can't just lease a piano personally instead of $30,000, but
It would cost more in the long run, mostly.
but I mean,
This is a used piano that'll last for 30
I don't know. So we can look at that, I guess, but. Okay. All right, so is everybody good with that, what we've got now?
So that puts us at 81.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice the really low comparison of the Utah Cultural Alliance? It's in the middle of the blue section.
Okay, let's see.
They asked for 45 and we're giving them 1,500. They're not Orem based at all, but that's one of the biggest jumps I noticed.
They essentially do, Stacy, if I remember right, they just do kind of the workshops, right?
Yeah, they're like a lot of mentoring and things like that. So I'm okay with that, but just wanted to.
1,500, I think that's good.
In the past, what they used their money was they gave their money to the Sarah to rent space.
So they could do their little workshops that they're doing. That's all they were spending it on.
Yeah, I think workshops was all they do.
Okay. I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think?
I think we did a good job, and I think Spencer, you okay with that, and Stacy and Jeff?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it one last time to see if there's anything I'd change, but nothing's jumping out at me.
So Stephen, we probably need a motion in a second.
Yeah.
And a vote.
So when they're, if everybody's comfortable, or I guess you can say no if you're not comfortable, but
Laurel, are you?
motion to
are you
accept.
okay?
Oh, Jeff, go ahead.
I was just asking Laurel.
I think this is awesome. So I just kind of want to be like, can we ask the Sarah to please give a discount to all of our care recipients, or is that frowned upon? Because we give the Sarah an awful lot. So.
And they have their expenses too. So, but yeah, that's a good point.
That's more, I'm a social worker, so I could avoid math and things like this. So it's just kind of magical thinking.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the city, right? I mean, with the library hall.
The library.
Charge. But the reason why they have to charge is because co-sponsor groups on recreation have to pay for renting of the ball field. So there has to be a balance there. And that's why I think you'd ask somebody to say, hey, cut them a break when they have fixed costs too. And I don't think their employees have had an increase in salary for probably 10 years. So
oh, wow.
they're a nonprofit. So, I mean, we could talk to Adam, but
No, it's good for me to hear the logistics of it versus just give everybody money.
I don't think Adam's gouging or trying to, be unfair about it. I think he has his fixed costs as well
that he needs to recoup.
And I think, I think he'll take what he can get.
Okay, awesome. No, I think this is.
And I think too, if you look at what we're given, and then next year with if sales tax is down and the care tax is down, then it has to be adjusted. So I think this is a good number. I think I feel good about it. So.
Well, and some of our old organizations might come back, like Heart and Soul and things like that, that were probably shut down because the care centers were shut down. So I think they shouldn't expect to always get the same amount every year. It's just not possible when the numbers of applicants fluctuates.
Yeah. The whole idea is I think we should be weaning people off the care money, but it's hard on certain groups like the Chantinettes, and we're trying to give them seed money to build up so they can have sponsors and they can make their own money so they don't have to rely on the care tax. But we've made that bed, so we have to make sure we do it right. So do we need a motion?
Yeah, I'll have commission member, somebody from the commission, and make a motion and second it, and then everybody vote.
I make a motion that we accept these numbers.
And
I'll second it.
Okay. Easy beat you to it, Spencer, but you can be the first to vote.
Oh, me?
Yep.
Yeah, I.
Danae?
Yep, I.
Aye.
Okay. And I am so sorry. Is it Danae or Danae?
Danae.
Danae, yes, of course. I'm sorry.
I hear everything, so.
Okay, well, thank you so much for this time you spent doing this.
So I want to thank all the commission members and, putting your time in and doing this. We really appreciate it. And we love the citizen input. So thank you for your time.
You guys did a great job. Well done. And, come to an agreement on the dollar amount quickly. Nice work.
Thanks. It's been fun.
Yeah, just as a reminder, the council will be looking at this work session on May 25th, and then we'll be voting on the final on June 15th in council meeting. So I sent those dates and YouTube channel and all that to you as well earlier. So.
And we'll send you a copy of this so you can kind of see those final numbers. But we'll present those, and I appreciate y'all again. I hope everybody's able to utilize their DoorDash gift cards. We usually will do in person. Now, just so you know, in the future, as we look to next year, we're outfitting our city council chambers and conference room with the technology is called Zoom Room, and essentially it creates a hybrid of allowing easily people to do things remotely and in person. I think we'll always leave the remote option available, just so you don't have somebody from Cedar City traveling up here to do a 15-minute presentation, but even from Salt Lake. So I think this has really provided a great opportunity for people to be able to do that, and it's reduced the technology concerns of, here's my flash drive or here's my laptop, can you hook it up for me? And I mean, it's made it really smooth. So I think we'll always keep a hybrid option moving forward.
Sounds good. Stephen and Kenna, thanks to you guys as well.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for putting this all together.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks
everybody.
all. Nice to meet everyone.
Yes.
Laurel.
Look forward to meeting you in person in a year.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Y'all have a good night.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Kenna?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just gonna stop the recording, make sure we got that.